It's time to take a look inside ECSU Mighty Vikings football. Welcome to Viking Coaches Show with Marcus Hilliard on WRVS 89.9.
A brand new season of ECSU Mighty Viking football begins now. Hello, fans. I'm Clay Mercer, and welcome to Viking Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9. We are excited about the 2024-25 season, and across from me right now, I have the man at the helm, ECSU football head coach Marcus Hilliard. Coach Hilliard, welcome back to your show. It's a brand new season about to start off, and I tell you what, ECSU in 2023, 2-5, 3-7, obviously not the numbers that you want, but this is a brand new year, a chance to fix those numbers and make them the way you want them. And I'm just excited to have you here. It's going to be a fun time this season. Welcome back to the show.
I appreciate it, man. I'm grateful to be here, man, and it's an exciting time for us.
Yeah.
We're fired up and ready to go.
So much new. I mean, you have a brand new chancellor, interim chancellor, Dr. Catherine Edmonds. I know she's a sports person, a football person. How has the conversations been with her and as we get ready for the brand new season?
Yeah, she's a very supportive person of athletics and just wants to see us win, man, and putting things in place for us to do that. So excited about the transition that she's in and just seeing her be an advocate for athletics.
Yeah. Speaking of advocates, you have a lot of them, and we'll talk about some of them, including our alums and fans, in a few moments. But taking a look at the CIAA predicted order of finish for the 2024 season, the Vikings selected at number 10, just above last place Bluefield State. And at the Media Day event back in July, you used the word disrespect. And I want to bring some emphasis to that word right now. My thought is the team will use that as fuel to go and prove the doubters wrong. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just like I said, man, and the coaches vote for that, by the way. So they know. And, I was in my feelings at the Media Day when I said that. And I looked right at all the coaches like, this is disrespectful. And y'all know, like, it ain't going to be like this. But, it's easy to talk about it, but you got to be about it. Mm-hmm. And so it's an opportunity for us to, shock the world. They're picking us almost last. And, it was fuel for our guys, especially guys that I had taken with me to Media Day, and just, using that as a motivating factor as, nobody believes in us. And so for us, it's just using that and fueling the fire for us to go out and shock the world this season.
Yeah, we'll add some logs to the fire. Nothing wrong with that. You're in your third year at the helm of ECSU football, and obviously that first year was really about establishing the team identity, especially, rebuilding the program in your vision. Last season saw a lot of growth, and I'm sure you want to build upon that growth. Were you pleased with what you saw from the team over the spring as you were in practices and getting them ready? And how confident are you that the positive attitude that the team has will carry over as we progress through the season?
Yeah, like I said, man, year one, you're just trying to establish yourself. It was my first year being a head coach, so you're just trying to take everything in, and it just goes so fast, and trying to build that culture with the team, and just trying to establish those things. And then year two, you kind of see in a lot of those games. I think we mentioned 5 of those games where we lost by 8 points or less. So you can kind of see where the growth is with the team. And now year 3 is just trying to hone in that and not have those mental mistakes. I know we talked about it from week to week.
Yes.
And just making sure we're able now to get over that hump, man. And for me, it's just, improving day by day. In the spring, we had a lot of guys that, whether transferred or graduated. So the spring was about us seeing those guys who were backups last year now develop into being starters. And, the coaches did a great job of bringing in a great class. I think we had to definitely rebuild the offensive line. Even our guys know, I think we in the spring were like 6 linemen, and so we were able to bring in almost 20 linemen for this summer camp, man. And so just rebuilding there and just trying to build on those things that, didn't happen for us last season, man. And so, we're excited about it. We're ready to go, man. It's like 5 days, and it's like all of this. We just spring. It's like you're back like you never left, man. And as a coach, you just look at all those things of, you try to not say, well, we could have or we would have. We just got to go out and do it, man. So we brought in a great recruiting class, and now we just got to put it all out on the field. We got to go out and execute.
Speaking of improvements, we've seen a lot of improvement on the defensive side of the ball. And in 2022, ECSU gave up an average of about 36 points to opponents, and that number dropped to about 22 last season. You have to be pleased with that stat, and you and defensive coordinator Coach DC have done a fine job preparing for the weekly challenges every season. How confident are you that those numbers will stay strong in 2024?
Well, like I told Coach DC, man, it's on him, man. They're going to be the backbone of this team, and he does a great job of getting those guys prepared. And I'm confident in the defense, and he just pretty much told our OC, man, you get us 21, 28 points, we won't lose, and I'm very confident in that. And then we got some guys that played last year that showed up: the Tracy Whites, the Demorian Smiths. The Nasir Douglas, we got some guys, man, that, are going to be all CIAA players. And, defensively, I'm just excited just to see what those guys are doing, even from the spring up until now, just kind of how, Coach DC throws those wrinkles in there. I don't think the CIAA has seen kind of some of the things that, he's going to bring to the table. So excited about that.
In addition to the names you just said, you have Porter, you have Williams, you have experienced players returning. How important is it to have that experience and then to combine it with the talent, especially the new talent that you have coming in?
Yeah. I mean, it's continuity. They understand last year was the first year in Coach DC's system. And we had a point drop, like you said, from 2022 to last year. So now it's the continuity of those guys understanding each other, playing in the system. That makes a lot of difference, man. Even I tell them, even as head coach, you get experience. You don't know what you don't know in year one, but now year three, you know what not to do. And it's the same thing with the guys. So just having that continuity, man, and understanding the system, I think, and then sprinkling in the new guys that we have and just giving them a chance. And Cold Blue is just they're gonna be ready to go, and you're gonna see this season how they're gonna be able to, help us win all those games.
Yeah. And I want to stay on that word "new" because there's a few new faces on the sideline this season. Ryan Walker, former QB, comes in as offensive coordinator. Coach Doc, Stephen Hospital, takes over the offensive line. Talk a little bit about the impact that they have had on the program so far.
Well, yeah, Coach Walker is new, but not really. He was with us a couple springs ago, and now he's back as the offensive coordinator. And, for him, he's a very detailed guy. He likes things a certain way. And, just implement his style of offense to those guys, I think it's been great having him. And then, you got Coach Hospital. We call him Coach Doc. Just coming in and just transforming that offensive line. And one thing about those guys, they go out and recruit. We pretty much had to rebuild our offense, just from last year and losing guys in the portal and, graduation and all those things. So I think they have done a tremendous job of rebuilding and getting the pieces that they need in order to help them win and be successful in the system. So grateful to have those guys. And, as with any coach, man, this is their kind of first rodeo. This is the first time Coach Walker will be calling plays. So I know he may be a little bit nervous. So I just try to tell him, man, it'll be okay. Sometimes it ain't going to work out as the script says. I mean, trust me, I know that. But just getting them into a feel of just calling plays and they'll learn once we get into the game and things start going on. You just gain that experience. But grateful to have them, and I'm just glad that they've came in and helped us boost that recruiting.
Speaking of recruiting, it's so different now. Previously you go out to the high schools and try to bring in the senior. Now you've got not only, JUCO, but you got, the portal. And that's something that I asked you about last year. I want to bring that back to your attention again because now you've had a few years dealing with the portal. How positive, negative, how difficult has that been, just that extra wrinkle when it comes to recruiting?
Yeah, the portal, man, it's a gift and a curse. I'm just telling you, you can get some good guys, but you might lose some guys. And now even with the portal, now with the new rule with the NCAA, the guys don't have to wait a year to transfer. They can go anywhere. And, what happens is if a guy at our level does great for us and make all CIAA, the bigger schools want him. If we get a guy that's great, now the bigger schools are pulling at him and they can give him NIL money. So it's a challenge just trying to keep these guys here. But it's also a good thing if these guys are doing well for you, that brings notoriety to the school so we can get other players. So, like I said, it's a gift and a curse. You live to adapt with it in coaching, just the new trends with everything. You just got to adapt to it. But, I don't mind it. It's just something that, like back in the day, you will have a guy for 4 years. You may not have him for 4 years. It may be this 1 year. And, you got to re-recruit your current players, and you always got to be searching for the next.
It's a lot of work on the coach, but that's what you get paid for, Coach, so that you make it happen. And we all know this. You only have to score one more point than the opponent to win. That's all you need. But the Vikings only averaged about 18 points per game last season, somewhere around there. And I'm sure that number, you want that to rise. I don't want you to give up the playbook and all the secrets and everything. Don't give the opponents any kind of tidbits right now. But as much as you can tell me, what are some ways that you can increase the scoring output of this team, some ways that you've kind of put into the practices and maybe some wrinkles that you are adding to make sure that the offense flows the way you want it? Well,
we're going to rely on our all-CIAA back, man. Yeah. Zachariah Adams-Duxon, I think you've seen what he could do. Give him the ball. Let's run the football. Like, ain't a secret. The fans want to know. We're going to give him the ball. He's going to get his touches. And, we're going to throw some play action in there. But all our stuff is going to be derived off the run, man. And, he made all CI, and I know people will say, well, he had all those yards, he only had one touchdown, and that's what the focus has been on in the summer, just making sure we can score in the red zone. If you've been coming out to our practices and our scrimmages, we practice those situations, like being able to score in the red zone. So we're going to run the football, man. We're going to make it a game, and, I believe in that, and I know the guys say, man, he wants to run the ball. Yes, we do, because it establishes control. We can establish control, and now – we can mix in some play action and do some things, but we're going to run the football, man, and we got our number one guy that can get the job done.
I like it. I like what I hear, and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to review the 2024-25 schedule, and we'll place a spotlight on a few of those special players when we return. And don't forget, you can call in and talk to Coach. He wants to hear from you. Call 855-899-WRVS and ask Coach Hilliard a question. More Viking Coaches Show is on the way here on WRVS 89.9.
Get your tickets for ECSU football games online at ECSUVikings.com.
As a young teenage boy, I didn't even know what autism was. How do you even spell that? A few years later, I heard that a friend's cousin's son had been diagnosed with autism.
I still wasn't sure what that really meant.
When I went to college, my roommate's brother had autism. When I moved to the city for work, my best friend called me and told me his son had been diagnosed with autism. We were both in shock. I still remember the day I walked into the house and saw that look on my wife's face. I knew something was wrong. I'll never forget how I felt when she said, "Our son has autism."
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 88 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 1,000% increase in the last 40 years. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
From the football field to the radio, this is Viking Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9.
Don't forget, you can get your season tickets as well as single game passes right now online at ECSUVikings.com. We want to see you in Roebuck Stadium. Clay Mercer here with ECSU football head coach Marcus Hilliard as we bring you Viking Coaches Show. Coach, you brought up his name. Everybody knows him. Preseason All-CIAA choice, running back Zachariah Adams-Duxon. The transfer, 765 all-purpose yards last season on his way to being selected as an All-CIAA running back. How could he have, and obviously we talked about it, he's going to have a big impact on the Vikings' success this season, but just speak a little bit more about him as not only a player, but his character too, and what he brings to the table that makes him such an impact player.
Yeah, his leadership, man. You just the feel we're a lot different when he's out there. You can feel that energy from him, and he brings that leadership, and he's quiet, man. He just does it. He leads by example, and you can see him working hard, and he wants to be the best. He wants to be that guy, and he, brings that to the table with us, and everybody feeds off just that energy, man. He gives that positive energy. So excited to see what he's going to do this season, and like I said, I'm glad he's on my team. Definitely.
Well, having him in the back will definitely help the quarterback position, and I want to talk a little bit about that right now. And the experience at quarterback comes with Chase Williams. In his third year here at ECSU, he obviously sustained that season-ending injury against the Rams last season, but he was known in the DMV as a quarterback that can pretty much make any kind of pass and get it to the receivers as he wished, and he showed flashes of that during his true freshman season. Fans have their opinions, obviously, on the quarterback position. Obviously, the quarterback must be protected. He must have reliable receivers to pass that ball to. But from what I hear, there's a battle for that QB1 position. So I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to get your thoughts on it. And regardless of whatever the choice may be, are you and the coaching staff very confident that the quarterback will have the pieces around him to achieve the success that we want to see?
Yeah. The one thing about Chase, man, like you say, he has the most experience. Last year was plagued with some injuries, and, I think that kind of hindered him. But I feel great about all the quarterbacks that we have, man. Nice. And, it has been a battle. Mm-hmm. They know that. And, we're looking for a guy who's going to rise to the top. Mm-hmm. I know, there's always been questions about who's, the quarterback. That's the question you're always going to get. Everybody want to know, like, man, who's playing quarterback? And so all those guys are looking good, man.
Wow.
That'll be
a tough problem to have.
That's a tough choice for the offensive coordinator, man. Like, honestly, we sit down, we have our meetings every morning, and I even ask, like, who are we going with, Coach? Like, and he feels great about all of them, and that is a great thing to have, just being able to have that. And you always need 2 or 3 quarterbacks just because of injuries. Mm-hmm. Injuries happen, so you want to be able to have guys just like in the NFL. If the starter gets hurt, you have the backup. We can come in and we don't miss a beat. But along with that, like I said, man, we're gonna run the ball. So we just need a guy to be managing the game. We are gonna run that football. So like I said, we're gonna rely on our CIAA back, man. So the quarterback, he just has to be pretty much a game manager.
Yeah, and competition is great. I think it's a good thing because it just brings everybody who's in that competition to the top. And I'm sure you've seen that in the practices leading up to Saturday.
Yeah, each one of those guys, and just to talk about, I know we have Chase and then we have Kofi, man. Each one of those guys have a different dynamic. Kofi is a transfer guy. He was here with us this spring. I thought he had a great spring. And he's even gotten better now in the fall. And we also brought in another transfer, DeMarcus Creasy, who's a transfer from Delaware. And I think with him, he gives you that dual threat that I like. Man, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's a good, tough decision that we're going to have to make, but I think all those guys can get the job done.
Yeah, it's a beautiful problem to have, and we're happy we have it here at ECSU. We got a little bit more in store. When we return, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to review the schedule for the 2024-25 season and give y'all some of the highlights and get y'all prepared for Saturday's matchup against Shaw. All of that is on the way here on Viking Coaches Show, exclusively on WRVS 89.9, your community voice.
Do you have a question or comment for Coach Hilliard? Call into the show, 855-899-WRVS.
Elizabeth City State University promises to be the most affordable choice for a high-quality university education. The North Carolina Promise Tuition Plan will reduce the tuition cost of attending ECSU to only $500 per semester for in-state students. Learn more online at ecsu.edu/ncpromise. Elizabeth City State University. Come to discover, leave to conquer.
You're ready to become a scholar. It's time for you to earn your bachelor's or master's degree. At Elizabeth City State University, we're proud of our strong academic programs. We offer 28 bachelor degrees and 4 master's degrees. ECSU also offers flexible online courses to help you achieve your goals. Start the process today. Call 800-347-3278 or find us online at ecsu.edu.
You can promote your business or nonprofit organization on the radio during ECSU football games. Call 252-335-3985 today to get the promotion you deserve. That's 252-335-3985.
From the football field to the radio, this is Viking Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9.
Back here with Viking Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9. Family, thank you so much for listening. And again, if you want to get your season passes or your single game tickets, get all the information you need online right now at ECSUVikings.com. We want to take a look at the 2024-25 schedule for the ECSU Mighty Vikings. We have 4 true home games this season in Roebuck Stadium. 5 games on the road. Of course, the Down East Viking Football Classic will roll into Rocky Mount on the 21st. And you know, they say it's a home game, but you got to travel to Rocky Mount. So when I say true, I mean Roebuck, but we understand what it's all about with the big matchup on the 21st against Fayetteville State. But the season begins this Saturday with a trip into Raleigh, a matchup against Shaw. We'll talk more about that in a few moments. But after that, the Vikings will have their first home game September 7th. It's Appreciation Day as the Vikings welcomes Chowan to Roebuck, and ECSU will not have another true home game for 5 weeks. So it's a long time, Coach, to be away from home. But got a few games on the road, including Livingstone and Virginia Union. And then they get a little bit of home cooking, 3 games straight at ECSU with Virginia State, Lincoln, and Bowie State. And the Vikings will travel to West Virginia to finish off the conference season at Bluefield State. And hopefully ECSU will be in that CIAA championship game on November 16th in Salem. You can get your entire schedule, season tickets, and all of that online at ECSUVikings.com. But, Coach, when you look at this schedule, what kind of pops out to you? With some of the things that you see, obviously that those few weeks away from Roebuck it's a long time.
Yeah, the 4 out of the first 5 games, man, on the road, it's tough. We talked about it, before this schedule came out. The coaches were like, we're going to be some road warriors, man. But, you get prepared. You get the guys mentally prepared. They know. I don't think for them it's not a bad deal. Okay. It's some logistics that we have to go through with traveling just so often, but from a player standpoint, man, they roll with it and they kind of understand, and I think sometimes they like it, man. They eat good, they treat it well in the hotel. So I mean, for them, it's like yes, let's go. But just looking at the schedule, man, it's tough, and seeing that we only have the one home game next. On September the 7th against Chowan, and then, not another one until October. Mm-hmm. But you get yourself mentally prepared for it, and, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's all. You got to go out there and play.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the Bears. Coach Adrian Jones and Shaw coming off that 3-7 overall record, 2-5 in the conference. They picked up their first win of the season against the Vikings at Roebuck Stadium, where the Vikings fought back from a 20-0 deficit at halftime and held the Bears at 0 points in the second half. And that was just another one of those games where, ECSU was right there at the end and ball bounce here or move there or onside kick gets picked up and you got a chance to make it happen. And, this time you're on the road, so I know you want a different outcome. What are you expecting heading into Saturday's matchup with Shaw?
Yeah, Shaw, they're a good football program. I think Coach Jones does a great job of getting those guys prepared. And if you remember from last year, I look at the things, I think that was like a hurricane or something happened and we had to move the game to Sunday. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of got us out of our whole deal, and like you said, being down 20-0, I don't know if we were up to task, and, we fought back in the second half, but ultimately lost that game by 1 point, man. And, the Bears, we know they're going to have those guys. They're going to have some dudes, man, but we just got to be able, like last year, not turn the ball over early, get stops in the red zone. I think the first drive of that game last year, they came down and they scored. I think it was like a 11 play, 70-yard scoring drive. And so being able to not let that happen, taking control of the game, and, I feel good about it. But we know Shaw's going to be prepared and we're on the road. Mm-hmm. And so we – playing in a week 0 game, you just, like I said, the unknowns. We hadn't played against anybody. We didn't get a chance to scrimmage in the spring. So just working out those small things. You watch college football this past weekend, man, and I saw some of the early year mistakes, So just getting over that and hopefully not letting those things hurt us in the chance to win.
Have you seen the team really come together with these road games? I mean, there is some positives to it where the team probably feels like it's us against everybody when you go on the road. It probably helps out with the camaraderie and really the cohesiveness of the team.
Yeah, and for us, it's really not a road game, man. We have a a wonderful presence from our alumni, the Raleigh-Durham Wake chapter, man. They were going to be there, man. So it's going to feel like a home game for us. They already called. I just got a text from the president saying, look, we're going to greet the players on Friday. We're going to be there Saturday. So just the love from our alumni and our fans and our supporters, man. So, I mean, it's a road game, but we're gonna have just as many fans as Shaw. So we feel good about it, man. Once the guys see that support, man, you know, they perform. So we're excited about it.
It'll be nice to see more Viking blue in there in Durham County Memorial Stadium this Saturday. The game will begin at 1. You can check out the game coverage on the CIAA Sports Network, and WRVS 89.9's coverage of Mighty Vikings football will kick off on September 7th. And that means you still have time to get those radio sponsorship packages that we have available for you. You can let your message be heard during every ECSU Mighty Vikings football game here on the radio. You can call 252-335-3985 to get started. And don't forget season passes. As we've talked about before, we want you in Roebuck Stadium all season long for the big games, and those season passes include the Down East Viking Football Classic, and all of that information is available for you right now online at ECSUVikings.com. I'm happy to get this show going because, Coach, every week is going to be something to talk about, but the season is here, and I look forward to seeing what's going to happen on Saturday. Thank you so much for taking out some time to speak to the Viking football listeners, and this Saturday is going to be a big-time game. I want to give you a little bit of time to speak to the listeners, give them a little bit of love, and get them ready for what should be an outstanding season.
Yeah, man, just come out and support us. Like I said, our motto for the year, man, one goal, one ship. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Everybody's got one goal, and, you know, like a double entendre, one ship. With the Viking ship, the goal is the championship. So one goal, one ship, man, get everybody excited. And the ship be pulling in the Durham County Stadium on Saturday, man. So we look forward to seeing everybody there. And like you said, go out and get your season tickets and support us, man. And we're definitely prepared, and we're ready to put on the show. I'm excited to see it, man. And for Coach Hilliard, I'm Clay Mercer. Coach, thank you again so much for making this happen. We'll see you next Monday for another edition of Viking Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9, your community voice.
Viking Coaches Show is back for a brand new season. Catch up with ECSU football head coach Marcus Hilliard every week for in-depth analysis of every game, plus interviews with ECSU student athletes, and you get to join in on the show during the question and answer session.
I promise you, man, we're going to put on the show, and just thank you guys.
It's Viking Coaches Show with Marcus Hilliard, Monday at 6:30, exclusively on WRVS 89.9.